Dr. Stephen Blake, and I'm here to teach you about periodontal disease in dogs and cats. Periodontal disease affects as much as 80% of the dog and cat population. It's an inflammatory disease of chronic nature that affects the gums of most animals that I see and have seen over the past 40 years. The indication of inflammation like this is pointing to the fact that there's chronic disease in the animal in the first place. It's not an acute disease where you just get a bacterial infection or a viral infection. It's an underlying, ongoing problem that the animals have, which we call chronic disease. The problem with chronic disease is it can lead to cancer, one of the end-stage aspects of chronic disease. The best thing you can do with your animal is to avoid certain things in their care and what you're doing with them in your home. Never use pesticides or herbicides. Avoid all vaccines, drugs, and chemicals. This includes products for fleas, ticks, and lice, and also for heartworm. All of these can have a weakening effect on the immune system of the dog, which then lends them to the tendency to get bacterial infections within their gums and oral cavity. Any ill health or disease in the mouth of the dog or cat will lead to other organ issues in terms of chronic inflammation, degeneration, or less than optimum cell replication of those particular organs or organ system, which then leads to other issues in terms of other disease entities. What I found is that by avoiding the things I mentioned earlier, you will reduce the incidence of this particular problem, and then there are other techniques that I've used that help the animal resolve these inflammatory or chronic infections that they have. One of the things I found that really helps a lot is to put them on a raw diet. That will help, as well as bovine colostrum, which I've been using for the last 20 years. Excellent supplement for the immune system and keeping the GI system intact. In terms of the oral cavity, what we can use is a product that's an esterified fatty acid complex, which we call 1-TDC. You can read about this on my website. It has antiviral, antibacterial, and anti-inflammatory processes. It also has been proven through scientific study to be effective in reducing periodontal disease in both humans and animals. I highly recommend it, highly palatable. You can either put it in their food, rub it on the gums, or let them eat it right off your finger. Next thing that I do is I recommend detoxing the animal, and that would be using gemotherapy, which again you can read about on my website. Gemotherapy is a phytotherapy, plant therapy, which is used for helping each organ or organ system detox. So when I'm dealing with the mouth, I use the gemotherapy rowan tree, which is good for draining the ear, nose, and throat area. I also use hornbeam, and I also put them on common juniper, which is an excellent drainer for both the kidney and the liver, which become toxic during their lifetimes. Anytime you give these products, you can either use them in their food, their water, or give it to them orally, depending on their acceptance of these particular products. One of the biggest problems I see too is the use of chemicals inside your home. Make sure you're not using any kinds of herbicides or pesticides in your home or in your yard, and take your animals out for walks. Make sure you wash off their pads of their feet if they've been in areas where you're not sure what they've been exposed to. This will help to reduce their toxic load over the period of time that they're out and about. I don't want you to be paranoid about it, but make sure they get to be out and not that they're bringing home pesticides and such that will in turn cause damage to their internal organs. The other thing that I've noticed is that many people put their animals under a lot of stress unknowingly, and by this I mean exposing them to stresses in their lives, such as watching programs that are stressful, the news, etc. So I tell all my clients, do not let your animals watch the news. I like to have them watch things that are less stressful and more entertaining. The main thing that I've run into with periodontal disease is it is a chronic disease, or what we call as homeopaths, an acute manifestation of chronic disease. It just means there's a deeper problem. And because of that, I highly recommend that you work with a classical homeopathic veterinarian who understands chronic disease and has had years of experience. By using homeopathy, you can actually reverse the process in terms of what they've had for many years and allow them to obtain optimum health, which we call, or what I call, optimum cell replication. This is accomplished by awakening the doctor within, which is their ability to heal themselves. By using these different products that I've mentioned, you will assist them in their natural ability to heal themselves, and also to expedite the fact that they are not being interfered with by allowing them to be exposed to all of these toxins I just talked to you about. You can learn more about this on my website, www.thepetwhisperer.com, and I go into a great deal of detail on each of these products that I've just mentioned to you. There are many other things you can use, as well as aromatherapy, massage, acupuncture, and so forth. My main goal is to avoid the use of chemicals, drugs, and vaccines on your pets, which will enhance the possibility of this being a problem, i.e. the periodontal disease. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I only ask that you pay this forward. That means please share it with all that you know and ask them to do the same. Thanks again. Have a great day.